So I just wanted to tell you, everybody, a little bit about what we do and how I started. We moved down the shore in 1969. My parents bought a nice house, and truth be told, didn't really have the money to hire a landscape designer and architect, so my mom did what every landscaper's nightmare is. She'd hire different landscapers and pick their brains, and then take me at 9 years old to the garden center to help her carry the plants back, and we landscaped our own house.
Wow.
As a kid, I started cutting the grass at the neighbor's houses and just to make some extra money. In high school, my friend asked me if I would help him. His mother had a friend in Holiday City and Silverton, and asked if I could help him cut her lawn. I had a pickup truck, so we took mom's mower and his mom's mower. We went over to Holiday City and Silverton to cut this lady's lawn. And then the guy next door said, "Would you cut my lawn?" I said, "Sure." And the guy across the street said, "Would you cut my lawn?" And we cut like 9 lawns that day. By the end of that summer, we had 110 customers in Holiday City. And that supported me through high school and through 2 years of college. On weekends, I used to buy my plants and stuff from Island Heights Farmers Market, if anybody remembers that place. It's now since long gone. And he would set me up on weekends to plant trees and shrubs for his customers. So that's kind of how I learned what grows best and how different things grow. And that's how it all started. So we went from cutting grass to learning how to plant and developed a pretty successful landscape business. I happen to be a flower guy. I just love to incorporate different flowers and perennials and things into my landscape. And here's just a picture of somewhere, I don't know where. We've done $100,000 jobs and we've done $1,000 jobs. I do anything, and I'm happy to do anything. I like to bring a variety of plants to a customer's house and put a puzzle together. Sometimes the customer wants to participate, and sometimes they leave it to me. And just a very small job that we didn't even complete this job, but a nice variety of different plants that I know will work well in that environment. Very small job somebody wanted us to do. We put that curbstone in as edging. We laid out a couple of hydrangeas, got the approval of the customers, and then we'll just plant them and mulch them or whatever they want to do. So no job is too small. This is a job we did for former member Steve Austin, for those of you who remember Steve. After the driveway was done, he put that mailbox in, and it always bothered him, so he asked me if we could just put a couple of plants in. Steve and I went to the nursery, he picked the stuff out. We took the stones out, we put the plants in, we put the stones back in, and just a nice little job. He was very happy. I make a lot of money putting privacy trees in. I make a lot of money when neighbors don't get along. I make a lot of money when people put pools in because they put a pool in, and now they realize, they look up and all the neighbors' windows are looking down at his wife and his daughter in bathing suits, and a lot of people pay us to put. In this situation, this guy buys his house and didn't realize that behind that fence is a junkyard. And from his upstairs window, he could see all the junk in the junkyard. It's in Bayville. Those are called green giant arborvitaes. What the biggest ones that I could find at the time, I'm sure there's bigger ones, but those were, I think, 14 feet on average. And then this was a couple of years ago, and I've gone back recently, and they're all growing together and touching, and you can't see the junkyard. It was a very successful job. Here's a funny story, maybe funny. So this guy builds this very contemporary house and puts a very contemporary fence around it. Spent a lot of money. It looks beautiful. Oh my gosh, it looks beautiful. Well, this guy hated the fence, so he paid me $5,000 to put those skip laurels in so he doesn't see the fence. Go figure. We also started to do hardscaping. Quick story, I'll make it as brief as possible. There was a doctor in Toms River, Dr. Haig. I don't know if anybody remembers him. This is way back in the 80s. He hired me to do the landscaping, but nobody was doing pavers at the time, so there was one guy who was doing pavers, and I hired him to do the job, and he never showed up. And Dr. Haig freaked out, so I think we saw a film strip, if you can believe it, or something on how to do pavers, and we learned how to do pavers in about 11 minutes, and we did Dr. Haig's walk, and we've been doing pavers ever since. So this is an example. A guy wanted us to do a big driveway for him, and his kids played basketball, competitive basketball. We noticed the basketball net there, so we actually looked up the regulation and put it on top of the key thing in, you know, for those of you who play basketball. And it was just kind of a cool job. The outside is called Soldier Course, so whenever we do a big driveway, we try to do something a little bit unique around the edges just to make it look like kind of like a picture frame sort of thing. I don't always pick the colors and the style, okay, because it's the customer's house. I'll make my recommendations. This particular woman, she kind of chose the colors and the styles, and it would have been my first choice, but the reason I wanted to show you this is an 80-foot long driveway, and all the picture doesn't really show it well, but to do an 80-foot driveway, the lines are perfectly straight. It's very hard to do, and the lines are perfectly straight. You have to trust me. Now this soldier course, if you notice, there's a close-up of it, I think. Every one of these bricks is hand cut, and every one is hand laid, so it's very labor intensive, and it's really hard to make every cut perfect. It's funny when I look at some competitors are great, some competitors are not great. Sometimes when I look at driveways where the lines go like this and the cuts are just terrible, it's amazing what people pay for, because a lot of people don't understand that there is quality work available. And this is the lady's front walk. We do a lot, more than anything, we do walks from the driveway to the front door. Here's a set of steps. We call it a porch. I don't know what you guys will call it, but this guy had a typical builder's porch, just a square with 2 steps where you have to open your screen door and step down on the step to get in the house because it's not even big enough. So I think we did, I don't remember exactly, I think it's about 9 feet. We kind of curved it and put a very unique little flare on the end. And that's one of my favorite jobs. We also did the landscaping there, but custom fire pit. Somewhere in this yard, there's a propane tank behind the bushes, and we ran the lines, and they hit a little clicker, and the thing lights. It's really cool. Pool deck. I think the typical pool company will give you like 4 feet included in the pool, and a lot of people want more lounge area, and if they like pavers, that's just a picture of a pool deck. There's a lot more pictures to this job. It's a really cool job, but Sandy wouldn't let me put it in. This lady had a concrete driveway that was 22 feet, and her kids are now older. There's like 6 or 8 cars, and instead of having the driveway slope with the property line, we built this cool retaining wall, which is an art in itself to do it correctly, to hold up 6 cars. Again, this is a really nice job, but there wasn't enough time to show other pictures. This is a competitor, a guy hired a competitor to put some kind of, whatever you call this, some kind of curb system in, and you can see it kind of fell apart. So he called us and asked if we could fix it. The idea was to take it all apart and then put it back together, but it was glued together and the glue popped apart in the winter. And by the time we would take it apart and grind the glue off and put it back, we made a suggestion, just put a typical curbstone in. Curbstone is a man-made kind of Belgian block thing. It's made of concrete, just like the pavers. And it's a lot cleaner, it was more cost-effective, and he's very happy. And we do the maintenance and the landscaping there. Is anybody familiar with Protectors of Freedom? It's a war memorial over at Bailey Park. So a couple years ago, I was invited to be the landscape designer and installer of this Protectors of Freedom. This is Brian Hanlon. He's actually a world-renowned artist.
Yes, he is.
And Brian did the sculptures, and I was hired by the Grunin Foundation to design it and landscape it. It was one of my favorite projects over the years. The war memorial is back in the field. This is from the back parking lot at Bailey Park. And how it started, we would excavate the idea was to put a paver walk to the war memorial. And that's how it starts. And then we put our base in, you put sand in, and you start laying the pavers. Just a couple more shots of how it's progressed. Well, we actually put forms in to make sure everything's perfectly level. You can see the 2x4 forms. To get the elevation correct, I don't know, 3 or 4 times I've tried to look up how many yards, but it was something about 200 or 300 yards of fill dirt to bring it up to elevation, and that's just the fill dirt. We form it out. The forms are perfectly level, and then we put our base in there with a little one of those tamper machines. Now the base is complete. We ran sleeving underneath for lighting and irrigation. By the way, Chap did all the plumbing to get water from the street. Dealing with the township, if it wasn't for Randy, that the job never would have happened. And now we started to lay our pavers around the actual memorial itself. Now the circle's complete, and we have to transition now the walk into the circle. The statues were delivered, they were put on footings, and then we got these cool boulders. We started to place the boulders. We put some really nice, very large trees in, so we would dig the holes with the augers. We had a flagpole guy, I think in Bayville, put flags up, and there's a flag for every branch of the military. I can never get that. Every branch of the military, there's a flag. And by the way, the sculptures, there's a sculpture for every war. World War II, World War I, Korean War, Gulf War, Vietnam War. It's pretty cool. Now we start landscaping, we start putting some plants around, some topsoil, and now we're getting to kind of the finished product. Although the picture doesn't show everything nice and trimmed like it should be. The Grunin Foundation put a monument there with all their information. First picture was the excavation. Well, that just shows what it looks like with the sod and the lights and the sprinklers and the landscaping. And going back toward the, there's a little podium that explains about each of the statues and each wars. We put the stepping stones and some benches.
How long did that take you?
I'm gonna say that probably took every bit of 2 or 3 weeks, I don't really remember.
That's it? That's pretty quick.
Yeah, they also put lights on those flagpoles, so at night it looks really, really nice. So, and we're gonna end with, this is Bobby Tran's house. I know everybody knows Bobby Tran. I landscaped Bobby Tran's house 3 times since he lives there. The 3rd time was after Hurricane Sandy. Randy raised the house, and this is the left side. He's actually got a driveway on the left side and the right side. This is the left side, and again, rather than just do a typical paver driveway, we try to do something kind of cool with the soldier course, and that's what you call the outside frame soldier course. A little detail of what it looks like. We completed both of the driveways, then we had to do a cool walk system to kind of get underneath the house to get into the. He's got like a finished. I don't know. You don't call it a basement. What do you call it?
It's a basement.
Basement.
Call it a basement.
It's not under the ground basement. It's under the raised house basement. And
You call it an English basement.
I took this picture in May. I asked her if she would delete that weed, but she didn't. And just to show you that one of the secrets to pavers, no matter who you hire, the secret is the base, like the secret of a good house, the foundation. It's really, really important. And one of the benefits to the pavers, in most cases, you don't need a permit. But the negative part is that there's no inspector to come out to make sure the contractor's doing it correctly. So if you don't hire the right guy, you could get very easily screwed. And I've had many jobs over the years where people had paid somebody to put a walk or a driveway in and it sunk. Then they're out of business or they won't come back, and they pay me to take it out, put a new base in, and redo the whole job, and they paid double. Well, we also did a Belgian block curb for Bob. The other picture was curbstone, which is a man-made product. This is, I think it's really granite or something, I don't know. But that's curbstone. We do a lot of curbstone. And that's the other side of his house. That's the other driveway. So he's got 2 driveways. And we do the flowers and the maintenance for him at his house and his shop. That's just a picture of that. I just took that recently. It should be all trimmed and look nicer, but that's Bob's house. And that's pretty much it. So I wanted to tell you that when I'm not working, some of my passions, I love to fish. Anybody know what kind of fish that is? That's mahi-mahi. I love to travel. That's my daughter and I in Egypt. Yeah, that was a pretty cool trip. I love to go to concerts, but she wouldn't let me put any pictures of my concerts in. And that's what I plan on doing every winter for the rest of my life.
Yes. Let me say this about
Hey,
Bob.
I'm telling you, she would not let me send her any more pictures, so.
My son cut a hole in the ground, put up some stones, and we called it a fire pit. And it didn't take long that it was, but we loved it. My wife really liked it. So I called Bob, and I swear to God, your guys were out there for 2 weeks, I think, maybe more.
More.
And they did a foundation, like he said, and that thing's been up 6 years. I mean, it looks brand new. I mean, and we got the whole neighborhood enjoying real fire. And you do fire pits too, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I have 20 employees. Yeah, there's 20 employees. We have 9 trucks, a bunch of trailers, and from Long Beach Island to the Manasquan, Southern Monmouth. That's pretty much it.
Still mowing lawns in Holiday City, Silverton?
Holiday City, Silverton is where it all started. We got $5 to cut the grass. And over the corner house, we got $7. And after and once I blew up Mom's mower, she let me use her credit card. It's a true story. And we went to Sears. Remember Sears?
Of course.
And bought 2 self-propelled 21-inch mowers. And we were like the coolest thing. Because you just pushed the thing and it went by itself. It was like the greatest thing. After a couple of months, we bought a weed whacker, but we couldn't afford a gas weed whacker, so we bought the electric weed whacker with 200-foot extension cords. And we charged people $2 to plug it in and go around the house with an electric weed whacker. True story. So, anyway, any more information, you can go to my website, ottlandscaping.com. Anybody else have any questions? I'm very, very lucky to have very experienced guys. And for those of you guys who remember Roger Lees, his son was with me 30 years, Luis. He was with me 30 years and he retired and went back to Mexico. His son is still with me 21 years. Wow. Danny, my hardscape foreman, Danny Torciello, who's worked for some of you guys.
Yeah.
30 years this year.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're very, very lucky. They're very experienced guys. They're very professional. They're all gentlemen. One more thing about OCBA, okay? And this is not about me. It's not for a pat on the back for me. It's just how OCBA has worked for me, and how I was hoping some of the newer people would be here.
Yeah.
But I just have a quick list. I'm going down real quick, okay? Glenn is my accountant. Former member Kim Kim Diamond is my bookkeeper. Steve Bellatran still does my shirts. Adam McIndoe still does my computer, but not forever. Bob Garrison, I hired him to be the IT guy. Josh Craftsman is bought Dan Horton's business. He still does our body work. Gary, I don't know how to say his name, Harrowview. He's gonna sell the business for me, God willing. Pete Farrell does my phones. Carl's does all the fencing, and I recommend Carl. Chad does my financial stuff. I'm gonna skip down to Frank. Is he still here? Frank and I've been working together since Frank's a member. We really work really well together. He does all the sprinkler work.
That's right.
Steve Bucci, I've recommended him, and he's done my own garage doors. Paul gave me hearing aids. I still don't have them in. My daughter yells at me all the time, but one of these days I'm gonna get fine-tuned. Kevin Bradshaw has helped us with family matters with elderly people. Rich Gilchrist does my insurance. Barbara, you're my go-to guy when anything breaks down. Bill D is the printer. Mark Costas is our real estate guy and hires me to do things when he needs things done. And Bobby Trans keeps me all going. So I'm sure I've done business with other people. Chuck has helped me many times over the years. If I'm forgetting anybody, forgive me, but it's been very successful for me. Okay, all good?
Thanks.